This really is not early for cold and snow. It's happened before several times, at least in my lifetime. But for a big storm like this, a pretty decent storm. We'll get close to, they're saying 5 to 10 inches, right? It's pretty early for that.
Yeah, it is.
And there was another one that we didn't get much of, but it hit the Syracuse area earlier in the week. I mean, we got some of it, but what we've been experiencing, they got more of in Oswego and Syracuse. So.
We got enough to have to wake up a little earlier to warm up the car and be annoyed.
It is, though, how's this going to develop? They're saying the winter storm warning goes into effect this afternoon around 5, late afternoon.
Yeah, so the majority
Probably won't
of it.
see much of it till nighttime.
Yeah, the majority of it's going to fall overnight.
Tomorrow, the problem is it's going to warm up just enough to turn to sleet and freezing rain, and we could get a measurable amount of sleet and freezing rain tomorrow.
Get it all out of the way
which
now.
Which means that collects on the trees, and who knows what happens there. And especially with leaves still on some of the trees. That's also a problem. All right, we'll get into the latest on Brexit with Simon Owen. Rachel Sutherland, also the caravan, the latest on the caravan. We'll get to that, although we might have missed. I'm not going to. Let's scratch Owen on Brexit.
Okay.
That's their problem.
Yeah, well, their problem now.
Let them deal with that. We'll this morning have a free money question of the day that is worth $500 from the Hobica law firm. Utica City FC. The head coach is coming in today. That gets underway. Comets lost last night in the shootout. Did you see that?
5-4. Yeah, they get a point.
Judge Clark, New York State Supreme Court judge, is going to be the keynote speaker at the National Adoption Day event in Syracuse. It's a big event, and she'll be in studio this morning, and so will Nagel, our craft beer of the week. There's a lot more to get into. Last night, what Joe Marino was talking about yesterday in the city of Utica over the fire situation.
Yeah.
The Public Service Commission, Safety Commission, is that what it is? Yeah. They adopted George Clark. They affirmed that. However, it's going to mean a lawsuit from the union. And I guess they're all okay with that. So we'll get into that just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into it later, but I think the union rep there, Carcone, makes a good point. We got qualified guys who can do this job.
Yeah,
you're taking a job from us.
Yeah, you're taking a job away, and adding a position. All right, NY22, Andrew. Latest on one county. It's Cortland County. That is a county that Anthony Brindisi won quite easily during the general election. And after the absentee ballots have been counted, what do we find?
So originally on election night, he had probably won by a 1,600, give or take, margin,
14.
54.
Yeah,
you got to go by percentages.
Yeah, 54 to 44. So.
Right. Okay. So he won handily in Cortland
County. So
and with the absentee ballots, he ends up picking up another couple hundred, right?
So now the lead is now 1,500. So it went from a little less than 1,300, I think it was like 12-7 something, to now a 1,500 vote after that recount of Cortland County yesterday.
So that's not a surprise. He won that county, and he won it in absentee ballots. The problem is that's not a surprise. If you're Claudia Tenney, that's the first county coming in that is going basically the way, pretty much at the same percentages that the general went, and that's the problem. And the Post-Standard has a story that basically points the win in favor of Brindisi, just because the path for Claudia Tenney is really a difficult one, as absentee ballots tend to go the way of the election, and also military ballots. It tends to be a small number, and here's the other thing about this: is all of the absentee ballots. It's public record who got absentee ballots, so the campaigns know. So they pretty much have a decent idea of who, in some cases, who they know how someone's going to vote, or they believe they do. And in other cases, they can kind of assume based on party, based on who knows what.
Sure.
But they all kind of have done their homework, and they have an idea. And I go back to the ground game. I think Brindisi's ground game was probably one of the most intense that we've ever seen in a campaign. I've never seen anything like it. So with that comes a real hard effort, strong effort when it comes to absentee ballots. So it's not over by any means. This is only one county that already went Brindisi's way. But when they did the numbers, in the Post-Standard, it shows that Brindisi actually picks up votes. At the end of the day, he'll end up picking up votes, and that the military will be insignificant. But their date, by the way, is not December 4th, which was previously reported. They're saying the date is December 14th. Which is it? Is it the 4th or the 14th? We reported yesterday that it was the 4th.
I thought we said the 3rd, but anyway.
Either way, it wasn't the 14th.
It wasn't
not the 14th.
Yeah. So what were we going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just going to, baseball analogy. I mean, if you look at this Cortland County situation, Tenney's path to victory just got more difficult because basically Brindisi is tacking on insurance runs here, right?
Yeah. And what she would say in counter is he was going to win that anyway. My counties haven't come in.
Right.
It's very tight in Oneida County. So they're saying that when, and by the way, half of all of the absentee ballots, half of them are in Oneida County and Broome County. Two counties that Brindisi won. Now, because Oneida County was tight, Brindisi won. He could even lose a little bit there. It could be tight. But Broome County was vehemently in favor of Brindisi. So if you just go by those numbers, half of them, even if it's a draw, she's got a lot to make up now. 1,500 votes to make up in those other counties. It's a tough run. Yesterday, Brindisi was in Washington along with the other freshman representatives, and they were all out in front of the Capitol getting their picture taken.
I spotted them.
Yeah.
On
what
Fox,
else?
right?
Yeah, and they had posted a picture of everybody.
Did you see yesterday that Fox News has joined? They've joined in support of CNN in the lawsuit against the White House over the Acosta thing.
Good.
And listen, Acosta was disrespectful, I think, but you aren't. It scares the daylights out of me when the president says, "Well, listen, I pulled your credentials. He wasn't respectful." But then when other staffers say the same thing, has any of these people ever read the Constitution? The Constitution does not require that you're respectful to the President of the United States. Now, it should be happening. It should be. People can get fired over that, but the government can't squelch you because you're disrespectful. It just isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree. And you can
be fired.
Yeah,
your employer could fire you.
Sure.
You shouldn't be ratings could plummet, but the White House can't just ban you because you're disrespectful. And then to imply that he hit the woman, and they did doctor that. They edited that video. I'm sorry, people are defending that. You cannot defend that. When you edit video, sometimes you speed things up. They use Kellyanne Conway used an NFL replay. Well, it happens all the time in the NFL. You speed it up to see. Not really. Usually they slow it down to see. And the fact is, it made it look like he hit her. And that isn't what happened.
Yeah, so that's...
He was wrong.
He was wrong, but that's bad.
But
boy,
Fox
that's kind
News,
of egg on the face. The other thing is...
joining in.
I just want to say... I lean toward the idea that Acosta doesn't always ask questions. He's advocating, he's arguing, he's doing those things.
He's debating more than asking.
Yes, fair.
Yeah.
Let that still be on display, okay? Even if you're for Acosta being banned, I guess I'm talking to those who are like really extreme Trump people.
If you're for the Constitution, you cannot be for him being banned.
Right. And
you can be happy he's getting it, but you cannot be happy for the United States.
Correct. Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, so there you go. You summed that up well because I was struggling a little bit.
Well, I'm going to tell you this.
Just remember, at some point, there's going to be a Democrat in the House, and they're going to have Republicans in there asking questions or right-leaning media asking questions, and if someone just doesn't like the guy, you want him to be banned? Just think, it goes both ways. The pendulum swings back the other way. It's not the appropriate thing to do at all.
Yeah. Although, if you really want to know what the president did for Jim Acosta was wonders. He turned him into a martyr. He turned him into a hero for the left. Bigger than ever.
Yeah, that's
for
another
those
thing,
that,
too.
For those that don't know who Jim Acosta is, they all do now. And it was great. This is awesome for his career. He is the center of the story. Thank you, Mr. President.
And he becomes the journalist who was banned from the White House by President Trump because the White House didn't like him, instead of the journalist who argues and debates with the president every day.
Absolutely. Now, see, you said that perfectly.
Yes.
And forever.
Yep.
It is now edged in concrete in United States history. How about a sad story? Did you see this? We were just talking about Tim Green. Where is he? And this was back because I think in his book, wasn't it said that he actually questioned maybe whether sometimes calls go the way of Vegas? And I don't want to put words in his book, but that's how his somebody called in and said that. If you read his book, he'll tell you in the book that this stuff does happen. And that's why he kind of ended up leaving the NFL. I'm not sure any of that is true, but the sad part of this is, and I believe he's been coaching high school football where he lives outside Cicero, North Syracuse, or somewhere. Anyway, the story this morning is that he has ALS, suffering from ALS. And he will be on 60 Minutes. It is his second appearance on 60 Minutes, but he'll be on CBS's 60 Minutes on Sunday night to talk about the fact that he has Lou Gehrig's disease, which is very sad. Although he is saying that his is a slower moving version of the disease, but that at the age of 55, he's now. It is affected in a small degree, but it has affected his speech and motor skills already. So it's very sad. 55 years old, right? Sunday's show will include audio from the 1996 piece where he appeared when he discussed the occupational hazards of football and how he loved the game too much to quit, even though he suspected that by continuing to play, it was taking decades off his life. He believes, and this is Steve Kroft speaking for 60 Minutes, these dots are pretty well connected by him. He thinks it has to do a lot with him getting ALS and maybe everything to do with him getting ALS. So he believes it might be connected to his play in the NFL.
Boy, that's interesting. So that, well, I guess I don't know. So the brain trauma prompted the disease?
That's what Steve Kroft from 60 Minutes is saying that Tim Green says in the interview. So we will.
But is that a common disease among pro athletes or violent athletes in violent sports?
I don't know. Tim Green, of course, played in the NFL, but he's from the Syracuse area and played for SU. Speaking of SU, tonight, UConn, SU and UConn. And Davey, Syracuse is like a 9-point favorite in that game?
Yeah.
I believe, yeah. That's tonight. And how do you see that tonight?
I think they're going to win tonight, and then they're either going to face Iowa or Oregon on tomorrow night. It's a big weekend in New York City this weekend.
It is.
The women kicked it off last night at the Barclays Center, facing a national-ranked women's team, and the men go tonight and tomorrow, and then, of course, the big game at Yankee Stadium on Saturday.
Which probably will be, they're reporting, there'll be more Notre Dame fans than Syracuse fans. But when I asked you, how do you see that, I didn't really want you to predict. I wanted you to tell me, how do we get to see it on TV?
Oh, it's on ESPN. I'm sorry, Bill.
ESPN tonight.
Sorry.
I appreciate your opinion, and I agree with you, by the way. They win tonight.
So, Mike, with the cable being cut, I might be checking this game out on OUR, or possibly, I guess I might get dragged out to a place to watch.
I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, all you got to do is go to ESPN.com. Every game is streamed. Every NCAA game, I believe, is streamed on ESPN without any subscription.
You don't have to punch in like a...
I don't think so.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Because you don't have one to punch in, right?
I don't.
Did you see that Anthony Brindisi yesterday, along with other freshman Democrats, signed a letter that was asking and showing their disapproval of Nancy Pelosi as being Speaker? So he's found, and then the woman down in the woman who won the Senate race. What's her name down there in Arizona?
Kristen Sinema.
She's being criticized because she did not stand up against our friend in New York City as being the minority leader in the U.S. Senate. So she's getting a lot of heat. Brindisi, and believe me, when this story hit, I could just hear people saying, he damn well better be against her, because that was a big part of the campaign, right? But he's not alone. There were many others that said the same thing. I think she might be in trouble for the first time. Prior to this, we were thinking nobody's really opposing her. But after this yesterday, it could mean
now,
she
is there
won't
an odds-on favorite to take that position?
I don't know the answer to that, but I do want to go to a statement. Claudia Tenney did an interview yesterday. Well, it might have aired on Sunday, right? Is that program?
Newsmax.
Newsmax. She did an interview with Newsmax, and she's continuing the campaigning, by the way. It's as if the campaign votes can still be cast. But her comments on Brindisi and Pelosi were...
Well, it's right there in the headline of the story. NY Rep Tenney to Newsmax, quote, just wait until the full count comes in. So she said, so I have to win 54% of what's left to be counted, and that's not impossible. She added hers is one of the two closest of the 9 House races. So
that has nothing to do with what I asked you about.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. All right. Just so you know, she said it's all about the money. I'm paraphrasing, so I hate to do this.
Yes.
It's all about the money.
My opponent, overall counting independent efforts, my opponent raised $13 million, and I raised about $9 million. So here we are.
That's not the quote either. That's not the quote I'm looking for. She said he will support Pelosi.
Okay.
It's all about the money, if you remember. She raises money. That's all they care about. Try to find that quote. And I asked you to find it because you actually read it to me yesterday. It's the only place I saw it, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I dreamed it. It's possible. Rachel Sutherland's standing by right now. One of the things you're not hearing a lot about is the president talking about the caravan. However, Secretary Mattis was doing a little talking about it yesterday. Good morning, Rachel Sutherland.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, Secretary Mattis there at the border. He's standing by the president's order to send troops there. But he was explaining to the troops really the purpose of their deployment, saying that short term, get the obstacles in. That's referring to the things they put in place, like barbed wire, and there's a big wall, at least up there by Tijuana, where some have already arrived. In fact, most of the caravan is still farther south by about 1,000 miles, but some we saw pictures, people hitching rides, and they were apparently almost in like those chicken coop things you see on flatbed trucks. So, yeah, that's how they got there. Yeah. I was thinking that some of them might have taken the train of death. We've heard about that, where it's harrowing.
Right, they just hold on for dear life, right?
For dear life, yeah. But I haven't heard reports of them actually doing that. They have, but they were in the tractor trailers and vans and things like that. But the rest of them are still farther south. But there's a lot of questions about, how much will this cost? How long will the troops be there? Will they be there through Christmas? They're living kind of a Spartan existence in tents with meals ready to eat. And what we're understanding is, they have like fast food restaurants right across the way, but they're not really allowed to go.
Yeah, it is a couple things I found interesting. You have Democrats criticizing, and some Republicans who are critical of the president, saying that this was just a stunt. It cost a lot of money. It was just a stunt during the campaign. And also, I found it interesting that they're saying, at least Mattis said yesterday, that the troops will not be armed.
Right. Well, I mean, at this point, their mission is to definitely just support Border Patrol. As far as whether or not they're armed, yeah, I mean, that would be something that you would think they would have something around for self-defense if they needed.
Right.
But they're not going to be down there, in full tactical gear and whatnot. Right. That's just not the plan.
Let's hope that doesn't turn into the plan by all means. So.
I was just going to say, the idea is these are families migrating to the U.S. This is not a riot situation. So please keep the rubber bullets, the real bullets, and the tear gas.
Though they're mostly they're mostly look to be men at this point, single men. So maybe some of the families are farther behind.
And, of course, if we remember the rhetoric during the campaign, these were people trying to sneak in to do bad things in the country. So I guess the people along those borders probably feel a little safer, maybe. Rachel Sutherland, we really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. It was a radio interview where she stated that she doesn't believe that she believes Brindisi will support Nancy Pelosi because it's all about the money. And that's all they care about is the money. Money.
So let me ask you this,
I got to
because
tell you something. There was a lot of money spent, wasn't there, on both sides?
yeah, I there was a ton of money spent on both sides. Yeah.
So
what if the person who's up for a vote is crazier and wackier than Pelosi?
yeah, that's a good question. And the other part is she is I've heard her called a formidable opponent. So she's still going to be tough to beat. But this kind of is like when, if you remember, Brindisi was one of the young members of the Assembly, and he worked with other young members of the Assembly. And this was a story in maybe the Wall Street Journal or something. I know the Rome Sentinel also covered it because it was part of the commercial. But that's where they got together and called for Silver to step down, and they were successful. This could be very similar. However, it could also be what Tenney says is that no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to stop her. We'll see. But he signed a letter yesterday along with other freshman members against her becoming the speaker. So we'll see what happens. The other interesting news that came out of another radio interview was what she wants to do if she doesn't win this thing.
Well, I heard maybe possibly she said something along the lines of U.S. attorney or a U.S. attorney in the Northern District of New York, which would seem to make sense to me, maybe. I don't know. She's always been critical of government officials and corruption and things like that. She is an attorney.
Claudia Tenney can never become a judge.
Well, she wouldn't be a judge.
Right. She'd be on the right side, I think.
She'd be presenting the case.
Correct.
But she wouldn't be making
That's okay.
decisions.
I could never see her as a judge because she can never stop herself from revenge. I'm sorry. That is just, and even if you love her and you're near and dear to her and you gave money to her campaign and you voted twice for her, you agree with me. She'll get even. You know the old song by Jim Croce, you don't mess around with Claudia. Remember that song?
I believe it was Leroy Brown, but no.
No. Jim.
Two
Jam.
similar sounding songs, different themes.
That's bad Leroy Claudia you're talking about. All I'm saying is that if she doesn't win this, that might be a position for her. You might find her to be don't you believe that even though she didn't win, don't you feel that she has done everything she has been asked to do for the President of the United States?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, which is why I thought an appointment would be could
some sort of an
come.
appointment.
Yeah.
What else do I have here today? We haven't discussed in the last 2 minutes because we really need to be overkill on the weather, don't we? Isn't that what we do?
Yeah.
We're supposed to do. The weather is not looking all that nice. Today won't be all that bad, but by late afternoon, there's a winter storm warning in effect. And that winter storm warning is calling for, what are we up to now? 5 to 9 inches, is that what they're saying? But it's the ice buildup that'll come tomorrow morning and into the day tomorrow that they're saying is going to be a problem. There is a winter storm warning for all of us up here in the greater Utica, Mohawk Valley area. We posted a story yesterday on Anthony Pacenti, who did an interview with us just last week and talked about the casino proposal. And that drew a lot of people commenting up on Facebook. Pacenti said, what deal is, I might even be able to play the audio here for you. But Pacenti said the deal is basically done. There is no deal for a casino in downtown Utica. And the reason is, let's see if I can get it.
And everything.
Here it is. This is what he says. The county executive, Oneida County Executive Anthony Pacenti. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't. That's playing the whole thing. I had that set up to play just the clip, but basically without having to play the whole thing. He says, just to set the record straight, it was a proposal that was opposed by many, and there is no plan for a casino downtown. It's the first time we really have heard that.
Yeah.
Right? There's another story that I had put up that I find that was worth looking at. You don't have to, but a friend sent me a picture of the leaves yesterday, and I couldn't be so happy. I was happy as can be because you drive down these streets, especially neighborhood streets, and there are piles of leaves, huge piles of leaves covered in snow. So now we're getting another 5 to 10 inches of snow. These leaves are going to be here till summertime. It's going to be awful.
I know.
It'll be a mess in the spring. I'll be darned if townships, DPW crews throughout the area, the photo, actually there's a video that's showing them vacuum them up in the town of New Hartford. They're able to they vacuum them up with the snow and all.
That's funny.
It was pretty cool, and they're gone. And they've got today to finish. I mean, because once the snow, you're not going to be able to vacuum them up with 10 inches of snow on the ground.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely not, I should say.
And you're saying in your neighborhood they're just shoveling them up and getting they're using like a backhoe type.
Yeah,
maybe not a backhoe, but
I didn't see it this season, but I have seen them do it before. Where if you rake all your leaves, let's say to the curb area, they kind of pile them up, and then they come by with it's a truck with a huge bucket on the front. It's got a scoop on the front of it, and they just kind of shovel them in there, and the scoop throws it into a bigger truck. We don't have in New York Mills, I do not believe we have the oversized vacuum to go around and suck them up.
According to a new study from the Journal of Evolutionary Biology, men, and this, I talked to Paul Buckley, who's not shaving here in November. Even Tim Reed not shaving after Tim Reed announced that he is in the midst of battling prostate cancer. Mm-hmm. And he came on the radio to talk about that for awareness purposes, and that's what No Shave November is. And according to a new study from the Journal of Evolutionary Biology, men with facial hair are more attractive.
Oh, I've heard this before.
Yeah. Heavy stubble is best, followed by a full beard, light stubble, and then last is clean shaven.
Yeah, this is I don't know. It's funny the things I hear women say about facial hair versus non-facial hair.
There are some people that have you'll see them in a beard, and then all of a sudden they shave, and it's like, go back to the beard.
Yes,
I'm one of those people.
You look better with the beard.
Yeah, if I don't have a beard, it's horrible.
Oh, stop it!
No, it is.
Only because he shaves in the morning, and by 2:00 in the afternoon, he's got a full beard. That's crazy.
Right.
There are some people who have a very defined jawline and very masculine. And then they shave it, and then they look like a Muppet.
Full forecast, which has a winter storm warning, coming up at WIBX. The lawyer for Stormy Daniels, who's always going after Trump, was arrested yesterday for felony domestic violence. He posted bail, held a press conference where he said it was a smear campaign. Initially, it came out initially it came out that it was his estranged wife. That I had heard a report that she had come to his house and he wanted her to leave, and she refused. And something must have happened, or she claims something happened. He says nothing happened. He held a press conference afterwards, and this is what he said.
I have never struck a woman. I never will strike a woman. I have been an advocate for women's rights my entire career, and I'm going to continue to be an advocate. I am not going to be intimidated from stopping what I am doing. I am a father to 2 beautiful, smart daughters. I would never disrespect them by touching a woman inappropriately or striking a woman. I am looking forward to a full investigation, at which point I am confident that I will be fully exonerated.
He needs, he's looked upon as just a real... When you think of an attorney and attorneys, right, there are all those attorney jokes that talk about how sleazy attorneys are.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thinks about attorneys when they hear those jokes. They think about him.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's how,
fair.
That's how his reputation is. And, maybe the president's done a great job in kind of repositioning him. But either way, he's not thought of as a very... he gets into a case and all of a sudden, remember during the Kavanaugh thing, the minute he got into it, everybody's like, oh, my God, you just ruined their case.
Yeah. And he doesn't have a nickname, does he? Trump didn't nickname him, does he? Sleazy Michael Avenatti or something like that?
I don't know that he has.
That was Tucker Carlson.
That he's worthy of a
well, he thinks he's running for president. Do you know that?
Yeah. Well, this certainly won't help. that we're coming up on Black Friday next week. Of course, it starts on Thursday, Thanksgiving, and goes all the way into Friday. Then comes Cyber Monday, where you buy stuff online. But Saturday is a day as well that is worth talking about. Joanna Robertson is the Treehouse Reading and Art with the Treehouse Reading and Art Center. And Small Business Saturday is going to be going on a week from this Saturday. Joanna, good morning.
Good morning.
So this is the day. So after you do the big Black Friday thing, the next day is for small businesses, right?
Yes, the next day is the Day for Small Business Saturday, which has been going on for quite a few years, and it's sponsored by American Express. But the New Hartford Chamber is helping put on a big Small Business Saturday event for New Hartford businesses. We have 17 businesses involved, and a local artist drew a representation of a map for us of New Hartford.
Wow.
So shoppers can go and get the map at any one of those businesses and try to visit as many places as they can. You'll get a ticket into a grand prize drawing for every store or restaurant you go to.
Okay.
So the more places you go, the more tickets for some really great prizes from those businesses, but also from the New Hartford Chamber has put up the grand prize for us. So we have a lot of special events throughout the day, too.
I'm just assuming that that's no purchase. You just have to go to the store, no purchase necessary.
No, just have to go and see what they have going on. So,
what is the grand prize, by the way, that they put up?
The grand prize from the New Hartford Chamber of Commerce is a $250 shopping card.
Cool.
Wow. So it's worth a few stops. There's also going to be a free family yoga class at In Bloom Yoga at 4. And the New Hartford Chamber has helped get tree lighting, which we haven't done in New Hartford for a little while, but there will be a tree lighting at 5:30 right in the village. And Cavallo's is sponsoring our community gathering party from 6 to 7, and that's where the prizes will be drawn and awarded at the end of the day.
Really cool. And do you want to? There's a lot of businesses, though. It's probably hard to read down all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But the Treehouse Reading and Art Center is also hosting Chamber Night tonight from 5:30 to 7:30. Hopefully the snow will stay away until after 7:30. And that's open to the public, so anyone who wants to learn more and get a head start on finding out what's going on can stop in at Chamber Night. But on many of the businesses' Facebook pages, on the Treehouse Facebook page, on the New Hartford Facebook page, there's an event, and it lists all the businesses and helps people figure out how to get started to
it is
really just shop local and support the community on Small Business Saturday.
It is a big listen. I mean, you think about how much a lot of businesses put into the holiday shopping season. It accounts for so much of the year's business, and whether it's a successful year or not. Oftentimes, we forget about the small businesses, and you can get some great items, sometimes great unique items. Other times, stuff that you can buy, you end up buying in the big stores. You could have purchased locally and a competitive price. So support your local businesses. That's really big. All right,
Thank
Joanna,
you.
and a little bit about your place, the Treehouse Reading and Art Center. Tell everybody what you do.
I'm a children's bookstore, so I have books for babies through teens, and I also have parenting and education books. And I do lots of extra educational activities, too. I do reading tutoring and music lessons and summer camps, and then I have a lot of special events, too, going on all throughout the year.
All right. Joanna Robertson, Small Business Saturday, 1 week from this Saturday, although I'm sure you can come in this Saturday and purchase things, too.
We'll let you come in any day.
Any day, come in and purchase. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a great morning.
You too. I want to break, and we'll come right back here. Coming up, I said the greatest, she's talking about, the gift I'm going to tell you about, that I think might be the greatest gift ever invented, especially if you're 21 and over. I'll announce that right after the free money question. This is the coolest thing. You're going to want one immediately. And it's a little hard to get right now. It won't be, but it is right now, but you can get it. I'll have that coming up in a second. Also, next, I'll do the list of toys that apparently are on the banned list. These are dangerous toys you should not buy because your kids are going to get hurt. We'll do it coming up at WIBX. They put out this list of things you're not supposed to buy for your kids. And Manasseh, you're at that parenthood age where you have a toddler. Your kid is, what, 2 years old?
He'll be 3 on Tuesday.
And here's what they're saying not to buy. The list is out. Shoppers should avoid the Nickelodeon Nella Princess Night Pillow Pets sleep time lights.
Yeah, I won't be getting him one.
You're
of
not
those.
going to do that?
No.
$19.99. This toy projects night sky images. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But they're saying don't do it. It's a way to make bedtime fun, yet Watch, the group out there, says that even though it's marketed for infants as a nightlight, its packaging warns that it's not intended for crib use. Other parts of the toy present a potential ingestion hazard, and the manufacturer warns that battery acid leakage could be a hazard. Ooh. Okay, how many toys did we play with as kids where you had you had to have batteries?
Yeah.
And batteries are so much better today when it comes to leaking acid.
You're probably right, yeah.
Right? So, I mean, some of these things are ridiculous. The Nerf Vortex VTX Praxis Blaster. This is in the Wisdom of the Holiday Classic, a Christmas story. This toy gun might put your eye out, according to Watch, which said the toy's launch force presents the potential for eye and facial injuries. And here is an example, they say, of what could happen.
Oh, no. You'll shoot your eye out? My mother must have gotten to Miss Shields. There could be no other explanation.
You'll shoot your eye out! You'll shoot your eye out!
Now, there you go. That really happened. Marvel Black Panther Slash Claw. Well, this just doesn't sound good right from the start, does it?
No.
This is a Hasbro toy accompanied by a warning that children should not hit or swing at people or animals. Then what is it for, then? It's a claw. What are you going to do with the claw?
Yeah.
Wave?
It's like a Wolverine type claw, right?
Yeah. And it's $29.99. Oh, the Cabbage Patch Kids Dance Time Doll. Don't do it. This retro toy may appeal to millennial and Gen X parents who want their kids to relive mom and dad's fun, at least mom's fun, with the Cabbage Patch Kid. But the nostalgia probably doesn't include choking hazards. The doll has a removable headband that you know your kid's going to eat. So don't do it. Another toy to avoid, the Zoo Jams Xylophone. The toy, recommended for ages 1.5 to 4, doesn't come with any warnings. But Watts said the drumstick handle can be mouthed and potentially could block your kid's airway.
Okay.
I'm not sure anything is safe for these people.
Well, I'm not sure anything on that list was making it
stuff
to my
you're going to
house
do.
anyway.
How about the Nicey Wonderland or Niecy Wonderland doll? Mini Clara, the ballerina, $24.99. The ballerina doll is marketed for children as young as 2, but it doesn't come with any warnings. It does come with a plush kitten that can detach from the doll, and the kids are going to want to put that little kitten in their mouth.
Oh.
Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
The Stomp Rocket Ultra Rocket for $19.99, aimed at children 6 and up. This rocket stomper toy could lead to eye or facial injuries. The toy works when a kid stomps on an air pad, forcing air in a foam rocket that shoots upwards. The toy includes warnings that it can lead to serious eye or face injuries.
Ooh, okay.
Don't do it. Cutting fruit. Apparently that's a toy. This toy, aimed at children as young as 2, comes with a slicing knife made of hard plastic. The knife could potentially create blunt trauma injuries, according to Watch.
Jeez.
Also, the prisoners in prisons could use it for, you know how they take plastic and they kind of
make a shiv.
Hard plastic can cause injury. That's what they're saying. And then there's
the slicer on that is plastic?
It's plastic.
Okay.
They're saying don't do it. And the Cheyenne, Chien, I don't know how to, Promenor Pull-Along Dog. I don't know. Manufacturers continue to make pull toys with cords that are longer than 12 inches, which create a strangulation hazard, Watt says. The toy has a string that's about 19 inches long, but it doesn't come with any warnings. The toy is marketed to children as young as 12 months old.
But it's a leash, right?
Strings apparently are bad.
Well,
I'm going to tell you something. The only thing you're going to be able to buy your kid is a rubber room. Get some sort of a rubber room and put him in there.
It doesn't make sense to me because, so then if you have a pet, like a dog, a little dog, and you walk the dog, does that mean that automatically it is a threat to children because you have a leash for the dog that's longer than 19 inches? Try walking a dog with a 19-inch leash.
Well, they want it to be under 12. Could you imagine?
No. You couldn't do
Especially
it.
if you have one of those little dogs. The dog will be dangling near your knees. It'd be terrible.
Also, I have to say I apologize. Carter's birthday is Wednesday, not Tuesday.
And when are you? Is there a toy out there that you're searching for that you think is there a big toy this year, like the old Tickle Me Elmo type craze or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. My son does this. It's so funny. Everyone notices this. When his show goes to commercial, if his shows go to commercial, every single commercial that comes on, he goes, Day, I want that. Every single it could be My Little Pony. It doesn't, whatever the toy comes on,
He wants it.
Day, I want that.
It is that marketing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're marketing to get your kid to do that. And it's successful.
It is.
Right? Hold on. Our free money question of the day this morning is worth $500. I'm going to do an update on the Tenny Brindisi race and tell you where we are as of right now. We do have some updates this morning. Also, the greatest gift of all for someone who's 21 plus is out and available, and you are going to want to have one of these, I swear to you. It's awesome. And I'll tell you what it is coming up. Also, Tim Julian. Is Tim going to be running for office?
He's timmed off
year?
Right now.
He's
really
off.
timmed off.
He's very angry.
He was on Facebook.
Very angry,
Yeah.
and he has something to say this morning. We'll talk to Tim as well. $500 prize from the Hubucco Law Firm. We hope, anyway. Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Good. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Are you on speaker? Because if you are, I need you to pick up the phone because I'm getting a little echoey sound out of you.
Sure.
Just messes with my ears. Okay, you ready to go? You'll have 7 seconds to answer this one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, you're back on speaker again. I gotta be able to have you off speaker. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. She still sounds like she's on speaker, but either way, Bob Dylan, who gained fame during the anti-war movement in the 1960s, who's still touring today, who's in Utica tonight, stopped touring for a period of time back in July of 66. Why? Ready? Go. Why did he stop? July of 66.
No idea.
Bob Dylan was in a severe motorcycle accident in 66 and had to stop touring. And what came out of that was a ton of writing. He wrote a ton of songs and recorded a bunch of stuff, which was a really important part of his, really important time in his career. Tonight is probably even more important as he plays the Stanley Theater. I do have a couple things that I can offer you. First of all, how about, I know it's not $500 in cash, but it's worth it. It really is. A bottled Utica Riggy, it's a Utica thing, Riggy sauce from It's a Utica Thing. Now in 6 different flavors: marinade, original chicken Riggy, veggie Riggy, piggy Riggy, vodka Riggy, and roasted garlic. It's available at Price Chopper, Shenantries, Utica Pizza Company, and soon coming to Wegmans. Also, would you like to see Dennis Miller, comedian Dennis Miller, play?
Sure. He's in Syracuse?
He's in Syracuse. I could squeeze out a pair of tickets if you would like. I'm feeling in a very giving.
Nice.
I'm in a
thank you.
very giving mood here this morning.
But I get the sauce?
No, she gets the sauce.
She gets
too.
both.
Yeah.
She gets both. I say that's a pretty darn good consolation.
It is.
Nice.
Andrew, you sit tight, and Davey's going to hook you up, all right?
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks so much. It's the only place in the world you can lose a contest and win cool prizes. I do like that. Although cash is cash. Cash is king. $500 every Thursday. All right, are you ready? I want to tell you before we get to anything
tell
else.
me what the I have to have Christmas gift of the holiday season for an adult, 21 and older. What is it?
I'm going to tell you.
And this is, you think this is a must-have. This
I
isn't
do.
some magazine says this is a must-have item.
Nope. I'm going to tell you there are many people like me who probably will die in early age because of a liver disease or something who are going to be all over this thing.
If you come out and say, I must have Utica Pizza Company's It's a Piggy Riggy sauce or something like that.
Keurig has teamed up with Anheuser-Busch to make a Keurig machine for cocktails.
Get out.
Honest to God.
Really?
Here's the problem. You can make you put a pod in, and out comes a Cosmo, an Old Fashioned, a Moscow Mule, a Mai Tai, a Margarita, Mojito, gin and tonic, beer, cider, and 15 other drinks.
So all you have to do is add the liquor to whatever.
No, they powder the liquor?
It comes with it.
It's powdered liquor
It's
they put
powdered.
in? Wow. What do you think about that? Have you ever had powdered liquor?
Didn't they want to ban that alcohol or whatever?
I think I'm not sure because they tried to ban it in New York. It's not available in New York right now. You got it right now. It's available only for Christmas. It's available in St. Louis, but I'll bet you could find them on eBay. It's only available in St. Louis right now. Next year it goes national. Here's a little audio as they explain on this thing.
It is a Keurig, in fact, of course. We're a joint venture between Keurig and Anheuser-Busch, and we are super excited about our launch of our pilot here in St. Louis. You can go to drinkworks.com and pre-order even today.
You can pre-order right now. Drinkworks.com. Am I right? Did I let you down?
No,
Sometimes I feel like I promote stuff, and you're like, what a letdown.
No, that's pretty...
This is a pod. It's also a cocktail with top-shelf ingredients, cooled to just the right temperature, with the perfect amount of bubbles. Meet DrinkWorks by Keurig.
Go to drinkworks.com.
I'm here.
Now,
I don't see a price.
I don't know that it's powdered, by the way. Alcohol would stay, so I don't really know. I don't see a price either, but you can pre-order it right now.
I also think that it would be a possibility that even at the very least, all you would have to do, so you buy, let's say, rum, and then whatever the rum cocktail is, you just put that in there, and there you go. Or do you fill the machine with that alcohol?
No, the alcohol comes in the pod.
It is? Okay, so that's...
Yeah.
I'm still just baffled by it all. I can't wait.
Because remember, every drink has water in it.
Yeah.
So probably the juice is powdered at the very least, right? And you add the water to dilute it. You know what you're going to get there? You're going to have people trying to drink the pods.
They're just going to eat it, sprinkle it on candy.
Wow.
Is
Like
this
Fun
cool?
Dip?
Is it cool or what? Can you tell us?
You're right.
Yeah,
It probably would have to be, you'd have to get it off of a third-party site because it says, "Hello there, America. We're starting with a few early access drink makers available for sale in St. Louis, Missouri, but plan to expand soon. Check availability below to pre-order a drink maker in Florida, California, or Missouri.
New York's not there
with
yet.
delivery starting next year." It says,
I'll be buying it.
check availability. Can I get a price on this? Come on.
Doesn't show the price anywhere, does it?
Which
crazy.
usually means it's up there. But let me ask you this. This is a cool thing, especially if you're having a party. So someone wants a margarita. This one wants a gin and something, right? You're running all over. This would allow you to meet several different needs kind of simultaneously.
Absolutely. Quickly. Go make your own. It's
yes, 100%.
Very cool. And it's any drink you'd want to make, just pop it in, and it's like 15 drinks, almost 20 drinks that you can make.
But for a guy like you, on a night maybe Sunday afternoon, you're watching the Bills game, you don't need this. All you need is a glass and a bottle of Grey Goose.
Is an ice dispenser.
A couple of pieces of ice.
Does Keurig make ice?
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
It's a new ice dispenser.
Does Grey Goose make ice?
746. Former Utica Mayor Tim Julian has been very vocal. Can you read some of what's on his
yes,
Facebook
I
page?
can,
and
as
of course,
as I get there.
Very critical of the
I have it.
Go ahead. Very critical of the county budget, right?
Yeah, and the impact for the city of Utica, and I believe there was a threat or a promise, maybe that he would be hopping back into politics. And a continued assault on the taxpayers of the city of Utica, Oneida County, under the leadership of County Executive Pacenti, 24% raise guy. The county has approved a budget with no tax increase, which sounds great unless you live in Utica or Rome or New Hartford or any other municipality that will see their county taxes go up. In Utica's case, 7.75%. Consider we still carry one of the highest sales tax burdens in the state that Oneida County Finance Director Anthony Carvelli, about $170,000 yearly salary, has been lying about for the past 12 years. Oh, yes, Pacenti said upon taking office he would eliminate that. Oops, must have been too busy. Ed Welsh voted against the budget but seemed for it when interviewed in the paper about it last week. Must hear the footsteps. Sad part is the mayor's office of Utica allows this S-word to go on. The rah-rah cheerleader lets the county walk all over Utica. It's pretty sad. Was I confrontational as mayor? Yes, I was. I was, because my job was to defend each and every person in the city from this crap that the county and state tries to spoon-feed us daily, and I would gladly stake a career if doing the right thing against being a go-along to get-along laughingstock. Too many choices to choose from. Time to saddle up. Would love some good people to ride with.
Well, thanks, Tim. We'll talk to you later.
And the former mayor, Tim Julian's on the line right now. Good morning, Tim.
Nothing left to say, right?
Well, you didn't tell me he was on the line. Well, you could have just had him read it.
I was wondering when you were going to stop. It was like,
well, did you want? There was good stuff.
I did. I was being narrated by Morgan Freeman.
So, to be honest with you, I always enjoy because you put thought into that. I'm sure you were passionate when you wrote it. And sometimes it's difficult to what you write down. Sometimes it's difficult to exactly to duplicate that perfectly. So Manaski read it, and now you get to comment.
It was
on
passionate.
Yeah.
It was very passionate.
So you're upset, clearly.
First, I'd like to comment on the alcohol machine. I think that's like the what the 3D printer is to people who are anti-gun.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this. This is the worst scenario for people who don't want their kids to drink.
Oh, well, you got to lock up those pods. So, and the other thing,
lock up the pods.
I kind of wonder is can you break open the pods and consume them? All I can tell you is I've seen my wife when she wakes up sometimes in the morning, she is miserable, and there's no coffee. She'll start chewing on one of those pods. Imagine what an alcoholic would do, right?
Well, I tend to believe that yes, people will chew on the pods because that's what people do.
That's what they do. Yeah. They're going to find a reason to ruin everything.
I think one of the arguments against the powdered alcohol in New York is that basically you would consume a bunch of powder not realizing how much alcohol was in it, and then you would be instantly annihilated.
I'm just so sick of everybody trying to protect us. It just drives me nuts. I mean, let people be responsible.
There's a bit of a nanny state going on.
Yeah,
but,
man.
To get back to the comments last night, I was very offended. You know what was crazy about it is, if you read back on November 4th Observer Dispatch, where they talked about the tax rate, and again, the county touting a 0% tax increase, although if you live in the city of Utica, your taxes are going to go up 7.75%, like they did last year. But the thing that bothers me is the dishonesty, the deceit. Last year, this was all due to the fact that our equalization rate wasn't where it was supposed to be in the city of Utica, even though there have been more properties coming on the tax rolls and such. But the equalization rate was off. And they started with that again this year. Come to find out, it's that the county is basically abdicating the responsibility of paying for MBCC and sending it over to the cities and the municipalities throughout Oneida County. Whatever the enrollment is, you get taxed on that. So the county is taking these monies, I think it's about a little over $2 million, and pushing them off on the city of Utica and the city of Utica taxpayer. And again, I guess my question is, if the county is doing away with these expenses for themselves, what are they doing with that extra money, aside for hiring family and friends, which is what they tend to do at Oneida County, and not for the intake people, not for the people that are important and keep the county really going on the lower levels. But no, it's this director of this director of that, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch, and it's frustrating to see. Now, Ed Welsh, who's the county legislator up in South Utica, I mean, his statement was MBCC is the county's community college, and in this case, we're asking the communities with the most enrollment to pay a heavier share of the contributions the county makes as a whole. People may say, this is a good idea. Maybe we should look at the services of the county. It may lead to discussions of further localizing county costs. It could start a trend. That, to me, does not sound like an admonishment of this policy.
Yeah.
That, to me, sounds like he was going along with it until he realized that basically we were going to rain down upon him. And being the only guy to vote against, I mean, that's the oldest trick in the book. But if you talk about unfunded mandates, which the county continually talks about unfunded mandates, and they've talked about them for years. Griffo talked about them. Deanna's talked about them, whether it's Medicare or Medicaid, and the expenses that were there. The sales tax was supposed to be for that, never really was, because Medicaid costs have not increased as drastically as were once thought. All these things. And the county continues to reap this money. I mean, what happened to the Oneida Indian Nation? What happened to the tobacco money? What happened to all these monies that came in through the years that the county got, these huge one-shots, and continues to grow its budget and grow its budget? Not to mention the adding insult to injury and taking a 24% raise, basically getting yourself that in the middle of a election cycle. I mean, this is one thing after another is just being mounded upon it, and yet nobody says anything. And if it's up to me to say something, then I guess it has to be up to me to say something. And I guess part of that is the fact that as a business owner, as a person who does pay a lot of taxes in the city of Utica and to Oneida County, to me it's frustrating because, when you're the guy and you're pushing the button, you're saying, well, I have my one house and I'll go home. And, the 7% only means about an extra $40 or $50 to the average taxpayer. Well, I'm not the average taxpayer. And a lot of people out there aren't the average taxpayer.
Right.
Yet we're going to foot the bill for basically the county forcing unfunded mandates upon the citizenry of this county. And it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate.
You elude in your Facebook post to maybe the fact that you might be running for something.
Well, no, I'm getting bored, Bill. And as such, there's been a lot of changes in my life over the last couple of years, and with that, I've got things. I kind of got the tiger by the tail now, and I do have a desire for public service, and there is opportunities. I watched this last election cycle, and some of these races I watched, and I thought to myself, my God, this race in particular, or this race in particular, couldn't be more boring if you wanted it to be.
Well, you're clearly not talking about the county clerk's race, because that was the most exciting race of all. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that, and I like both the people involved in that race, but you have to give Dave Gordon some sort of credit. He hit upon a message, and he pounded that message home, and he pounded it home, and everything else was completely off the table with that one message. And he hit a message which was, anyone who stood in line at DMV, and frankly, I don't think the DMV runs that bad.
Right.
But at the same time.
But what I said is what Dave Gordon did is he grabbed onto some low hanging fruit that would resonate, and he pounded that home all the way to the point where, he almost won that race. That was a really, I don't agree with it, but it was a well-run campaign.
Yeah, no, I got to give him a lot of credit. And, he did a lot of legwork and a lot of groundwork, too, so you have to give him credit with that as well. But, going back to the stuff here, the city seems to be, rolling along, but without real direction. The economic development department there, I think, is completely lax. And a lot of the things they're doing, there's some political hires in there that I see that frankly, I don't see things are happening in spite of instead of because of. And that's not where you want to be. You want to control this development. I know you and I philosophically disagree on the hospital.
Yep.
And I think that, the Observer Dispatch in their article all of a sudden came to light that, oh, gosh, look, it's going to take taxpayers, it's going to take tax dollars out of the city of Utica's coffers. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, and whether you agree with the hospital or disagree with the hospital, I'll ask you this question. Do you think they've done a good job in rolling this out?
Well, I think that's the one area where we can all agree on it, and the answer is clearly no. It's been a really rough rollout.
Poorly stewarded project I think I've ever seen. And I think that's sad, because you talk about a project of any sort of this magnitude, and they still can't tell you what's going to go on with St. Elizabeth's Hospital. And again, that's something that's a huge question and a huge black mark on this whole process.
That would be a big solution to, because and it's not just St. Luke's or St. Elizabeth, but what's going to happen at St. Luke's? Faxon looks like it'll kind of stay as a medical office specialist type look. But what happens to the other two? I think they really need to come out soon and come up with some sort of a solution that that is better than it just being a vacant building.
Well, and look, if we look at the history of Edge and Steve DeMio and what they've done with the city of Utica, they tried to leave TRW sitting over on Seward Ave across from Schnatry's. It was my administration that actually had to sue them to take that building down, and sue TRW to take that building down and do the right thing. Otherwise, we'd be looking at that building still. Yeah. If the city of Utica, you can't go to any part of the city of Utica without looking at a vacant building that should have been forced to be taken down at one time or another. There's a blight on our landscape, whether it was the Bossert facility that was there for so long along the arterial and so many other places. So if you look at these things, again, these are the people that brought you Nano. And what is going on with that project now? Because we haven't heard a thing about Nano in how long now?
I'm almost out of time, so I'd like to do a little lightning round with you, former Mayor Utica, Tim Julian. A little lightning round. Are you considering running for mayor of Utica?
Not at this time.
Are you thinking about running for a seat on the Common Council?
No.
Are you thinking about running for county executive?
We'll see how things go.
Oh. You don't have a little bell you can play for me? You gave me the buzzer, the bell.
I think there's got to be a speechless tone. What is that, crickets or?
Wow, that's all right. So it sounds as if next year might be a very interesting year. So how do you judge that? How do you come to the conclusion, you know what, I'm going to do it? And how long will it take for you to come to that conclusion, do you think?
Well, Bill, what it comes down to is this. is there's nothing more frustrating than going through a ballot sheet and looking at the people who are running unopposed. And I refuse to vote for anyone who's running unopposed because, frankly, I don't think anyone's doing that good of a job where they shouldn't have an opponent.
Yeah.
And whether it's a philosophical run, whether it's an earnest run, whatever it may be or whatever it may not be or whatever may be backing particular candidates, what has to happen is people have to be held in check. And there's no checks and balances on these political so-called leaders right now because nobody's questioning them and everyone's afraid of them.
Right.
And the problem is that if you ran as a Republican, they would have the Democratic support. If you ran as a Democrat, they would have the Republican and the Democratic support. You cannot get edgeway because everyone's so intertwined now.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you bring that up, and I'm almost out of time. What party would you run on?
Well, I am an Independence Party member, and recently I have switched back to Republican.
Okay.
But will not take effect until after the next.
The next election cycle. Okay. All right. Well,
you know, Tim, those unopposed candidates don't need your vote.
They don't, but I completely agree with what you say there. It is a sad statement on society when all these unopposed end up running. So, Tim, you have lit a little candle. It's a flame. It's a big flame. I appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Right. Utica City FC, the Major Arena Soccer League team that relocated from Syracuse, is ready to get underway. Their season is just around the corner for 2018 and 19. They're going to call, of course, Adirondack Bank Center home. The 24-game season runs December through March and will include 12 home games at the Adirondack Bank Center. Utica City FC will join 17 other teams from across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And their head coach is Ryan Hall, who's on the line right now. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning. How we doing?
Wonderful. First of all, how's Utica treating you and the team?
So Utica's been absolutely amazing, very welcoming. Everyone has been overly excited. We're just ready to get this thing going. And then the team, we started preseason this past Monday. It's great to have the guys back in town, just getting acclimated back to playing indoor, getting the rust off a little bit, and we're excited to get this thing going.
And there's an exhibition game coming up on Sunday, right?
That is correct. So we're going to have an inter-squad scrimmage this Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Odd. It's going to serve us, and especially the players, several fronts. One, to meet and greet with the fans, but it'll be also the first time we've stepped foot on the stadium surface. So we want to get used to the boards and how this surface is going to play. So it's going to serve several fronts for us.
All right. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question, Coach, about the design? I saw at the Adirondack Bank Center they laid the turf in. It's turf, right?
Correct.
It's turf. So it looks like there's obviously a center area. There's I don't know what it's called, the area in front of the goal, but it almost looks like a free throw line, the way in basketball it's set up, the key. What is that area? Yep. What do you call that, and why is it like that?
Why it's like that, that's a great question. I don't know who designed it, but the principle of it is similar to outdoor where it's the goalkeeper's box.
Yeah.
So it's a square with an arch that looks just like a free throw line. The box itself is the area in which the goalkeeper can use his hands. And then the arch is for when there is a top-of-the-box restart. So anytime the ball goes out of bounds or a defender kicks it out of bounds in their own defensive end, that's where the peak of that is where the ball will be placed for the top-of-the-box restarts.
Really cool. Now, this is a stupid question. I'm assuming the turf goes in and then the ice goes over top, or is it the other way around?
It is the other way around.
Okay.
The turf just rolls right over top of the ice.
Right over top of the ice. So, and what do they do? You put down probably. I used to see they put plywood down over the ice, right? And then the turf would go over that. That's pretty cool. Talk about this team and some of the names and what people are going to become. Names people are really going to become familiar with here in Utica.
Yeah, so we're bringing back several returners from last year. Some of the big names is a player out of Cleveland, Bosnian players, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Ubi Peripovic, Bo Jalovac. These are two players who are just monster in size, stature. Slavica, as we call him, his nickname is Slav.
Mm-hmm.
Very technical, very fast. He will do things with the ball that you just absolutely cannot wrap your head around. We brought in a new player from Kansas City, Andre Braithwaite, who is just a big monster of a man who can hold the ball, hold off 2 and 3 defenders at the same time. A lot of the returning players are experienced veterans. We have a really good group of young talented players who are eager to make their way in the indoor league. So it'll be a really fun team, high action paced team, very blue collar, hardworking, but a lot of fun.
And by the way, the game on Sunday, and this game is much faster than the outdoor game of soccer, right? It's a very high, fast paced game.
Correct. So it's 5v5, similar to hockey. I mean, so the fans who are hockey fans will gravitate very well to the indoor game, as you know, it's 5v5. We change on the fly. A lot of the hockey rules, you know, you can't the 3-line pass in hockey, same as soccer. You can't just dump a ball into the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So it's high action. The scores are usually in the high singles, low double digits. So with the boards up, keeps the ball in play. So it's definitely much more spectator friendly.
I'm just glad there's not icing, because I still have trouble figuring out icing. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So when you say it's fast paced in, I forget the term you used, but like in an outdoor soccer game, typically when you leave the game, you're done, right? Where you have shuffling in and out here.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, similar to hockey, the guys are on the turf for anywhere between 45 seconds to a minute and a half. So you basically, you're on the field, you sprint up for offense, you come back for defense, and then you shift.
Okay.
And most positions will have, a partner or two that they change with, so they're in constant rotation. So it's, it keeps the game fast-paced. It's a very technical game because you're obviously in close quarters. So it's up and back and off, and then, your next line's on the field.
Do you have, similar to outdoor soccer, do you have the time added at the end of the game?
No. So the clock is the clock. They don't add time. Yep.
Good.
Interesting.
That always confuses me in soccer. I'm like,
and how do they determine
when is this game going to end? I just don't know when it's going to end. So we don't have to worry about that. Really cool.
The clock is the clock.
And this exhibition game, we're calling it the black and blue exhibition game, is this Sunday, and that game is free, right?
It is absolutely free. If you go to uticacitysc.com, all you have to do is just register and you print off your free tickets, and you can come out and meet the guys. That we'll hang out after the game and meet everybody, and we're excited to see what this is all about and get to know everybody in Utica.
All right, this is exciting, and it's going to be really interesting to see all of this and the turf and everything this weekend at the that's going to be really cool. All right, Ryan, we're excited. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Good luck, Coach.
Too, thanks. Coming up this hour, we'll talk to Judge Bernadette Clark. I want to give an update on the Claudia Tenney, Anthony Brindisi race, give you the numbers that we have here this morning. We'll get to that. And there's an event that's happening at the Carbone Athletics over at the Fitness Mill. They're hosting a pretty cool event coming up here on Thanksgiving. We'll get to it. 8:18 at WIBX. The owner of Carbone Athletics at the Fitness Mill, Alex Carbone. Good morning.
Hello, Bill.
How are
Good
you,
morning.
man? Also in here this morning is Aaron Goodman. Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
And over there is Eric DeCarlos. How you doing? All right, so Alex, tell us what this is. This is going to be called, and it's the first annual, right?
Yes.
Thanks Living.
Thanks Living.
I like the play on words.
Colossal group exercise class event that these two gems here came up with, and it's a really cool concept, and it goes for a great cause. So it's November 25th, the Sunday after Thanksgiving at 8:30 to 9:30, New Hartford Central High School on the turf. And we're asking for a minimum of a $10 donation. You can always go more, and it goes to the Central New York Make-A-Wish Foundation.
All right, very cool. Aaron, how does it work?
So people can come and they can donate. We have a link up on our Facebook event, and you can donate via PayPal. And you can just come. We're asking all the area gyms to come as well and just rep their brands and, bring their armies of people. And we're just asking for a minimum donation. It's going to benefit the local Make-A-Wish Foundation, which was key for us.
Yeah, that's really big. And especially this time of year, we think about those things, right?
Yeah.
We should think about it all year long, but we think about it now. Eric, explain what you're going to be. What are people going to be put through? What kind of
what are they
regimen?
getting into?
Yeah. What are we getting ourselves into here?
So a lot of people actually had this question.
Yeah.
Due to the amount of people we're expecting, it's going to be a 1 hour full body workout. So you're using your body weight. I'm not going to give out all the secrets, but Aaron and I got a nice itinerary planned too. We got the track there. We're out on the turf. So top to bottom, we're going to work the core, legs, upper body. It's going to be big time cardiovascular. Also, too, don't get worried. For people who are limited, shoulder issues, we're going to have other people, other trainers there. We're going to scale everything. So if you're not able to do the movement 100%, we're going to have someone there to help you out. So we're super excited.
Cool. Based on where you guys are right now, what kind of crowd do you think you're going to have? Because this will look really cool with this all going on right out on the field. I mean,
we have a goal, and we're creeping up on that goal. So our goal is 500.
Boy, that's
and
really
we're getting
cool.
there.
Yeah,
we're getting there. So
that'll be cool. Obviously, we'll be able to see it on. If you're not there, you can see it up online. I'm assuming that'll be a really cool
we're
site.
going to have news coverage too.
Okay,
so that is coming to
Very
cover
cool.
the whole event when it's live.
All right, so you go on the website, right, to register. It's $10 per person.
Yep.
And the idea is to raise money for a great cause. Make-A-Wish.
That's right.
Cool.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to add on this?
No, I mean we welcome everybody 12 years and up.
Okay.
And we hope that everybody's listening to this and that will participate, because this is, between these two, they put a lot of effort and a lot of thought into the idea and the program itself.
Yeah.
So we all came together and we were making this happen. So it's just the perfect time of year to do something like this.
Yeah, it is.
So.
And my guess is that if this is the first annual, it's something that will grow as time goes on, and the site will be able to see everybody go at it out there.
Yeah.
Are you adding something?
You're going to hate this. Does the snow create a curveball? We got a snowstorm coming tomorrow. We're 10 days away from it. Yeah.
We just talked about it as we were waiting. What if it snows? You know what? The more the better, because just wear your boots and your gloves. I see people jogging outside when it's snowing. I used to jog outside when it snows. No problem. We'll make snow angels as part of the exercise.
Yeah, and who knows? Who knows with Central New York? We might be warm next week.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know.
Let's hope.
It's great. It's on the turf, so it won't be muddy or anything. So.
I do want to go. First of all, the club, your place at the Fitness Mill. You've put a lot into this. Transform the place.
I'll tell you, Bill. I remember, not too long ago, I was on this show when I first bought it, and I appreciated you inviting me. And since then, it has just grown, and I mean, it has attracted these world-class, trainers and group class instructors, fitness enthusiasts, professionals. I mean, and they're bringing everybody that they are in contact with their fitness career, and it's, to me, it's just been. I find it hard saying it's work. It's not. It's like I'm doing my hobby, and I'm having a blast with all these people that I'm working with. It's been great.
Do you remember on Bleecker Street, we did a live broadcast years ago, and you were Central New York's most sexiest man.
Yes.
Get it, boy.
I think I had hair.
Sexiest man. And if you would have told me that I'd be driving down Burstone Road and see you all jacked on a billboard, I'd be like, never going to happen.
Am I still the sexiest man?
You'll ask the ladies that question. I think
That's
you're
great.
probably doing okay.
I do remember that.
Sexy back.
That was
That's
so
wild.
funny.
All right. By the way, it was Joe Griffo was the runner-up. So I'm just saying.
There's some stiff competition.
All right.
I love you, Griff.
So it's the New Hartford the New Hartford High School on the turf on the 25th, and it's 8:30 to 9:30. You come in and sign up, and you should go online to sign up as well.
Yep, you can go online to the Fitness Mill. Was it Fitness Mill NY?
NY.com.
Or Thanks Living. Just Google it on Facebook, and it's right up there.
Cool.
And there's a PayPal link
All right.
too.
Alex, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bill, for
Eric
having
and
us.
Aaron, thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank
Got
you
a break.
very
Hold
much.
on. Our craft beer of the week. Nagel's coming in. That's my favorite part of the week. I want to take one moment just to go through where we are on the numbers on the NY22. And as Andrew said, there's a report that came out of Cortland County, which is interesting. Can you bring that up? Because I want to know the exact tallies on that. Syracuse.com did a analysis after speaking with some of those counties and actually put somebody on the numbers here, which I think is a pretty interesting story. Brindisi had a 1,293 vote lead going into, so this was after they found some votes in Broome County, and after election night, he led by 1,293. The race, they say, will be decided by about 14,000 absentee ballots that have been returned to the 8 counties in the district. The 2 largest counties, Broome and Oneida, had received back 8,266 ballots as of Tuesday, which accounts for more than half of the 13,975 absentee ballots. That's big because Broome and Oneida County both Brindisi carried. Oneida County was very close. Broome County, he had a big lead. So they did an analysis that showed if those absentee ballots break the same way or similarly to Election Day, Brindisi would pick up in the end about 490 net votes in Broome County and 42 net votes in Oneida County. And if the other absentee ballots follow those percentage in each county, they're saying Brindisi would boost his lead to about 825 votes when it's all said and done, which would make it very difficult for Claudia Tenney to make up with the remaining 5,689 ballots that are out there. Now, what was the total in Cortland?
So the total in Cortland County was a margin of victory. Brindisi 54.48 to Tenney's 44.17. So it was roughly 8,600 votes to about 7,000.
And what was the difference? What was the difference in Cortland? How many
54-44 was about 1,600.
That Brindisi won by 1,600?
No, that can't.
He had
that can't be right.
8,600 total
No,
votes.
I'm looking at the IXT story. I want to know what of absentee ballots. What was the number?
I'm still
That's what
on
I'm
the
looking
state
for.
board.
Yeah. I want to see the number there. They're tying that Tenney. They're saying this is before the Cortland County came out that Brindisi would win Cortland County absentee ballots by 92 votes. So I want to know how close they were. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did they give the exact count in Cortland County in the story that you have? And they're saying that if Brindisi won by 92 votes, because he carried Cortland County 44%, that's how they're doing all of this, it would leave Claudia Tenney about 3,750 votes that she would need out of Oswego, Madison, Cortland, Herkimer, and Shenango, and Tioga. And they're saying that they don't think she could make up the 1,800 votes that he'd be up. So what was the number? Do they have it?
Well, so what they had, this tweet came from Andrew Donovan, who works at News Channel 9, that Cortland County finished counting the absentee ballots, and that extended the lead by 1,500. So the margin is still 50-50, but they didn't say I don't have the exact numbers of the absentee ballot totals.
So you're saying, so I can tell you that. So if you were to take 1,500 and subtract 1,293, can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
It's 207.
So Brindisi won bigger than the margin that he won on election night. So if you look at the percentages of absentee ballots, because if it was done based on the percentage of election night, it would have been about 92 votes. And you're saying it's how much? 200?
207. Yeah.
207. So almost double what Syracuse.com had predicted. So that race in Cortland County with absentee ballots went even more in favor of Brindisi than anybody thought it would. So, again, if you're Tenney, you'd far rather be Brindisi right now, who's in the lead. And they're also saying in the Syracuse story that it won't be until December 14th that everything needs to be certified. We thought it was like the first couple of days of December, which is what they had all agreed upon. But they're saying December 14th.
Obviously, at this point, they will continue to count. This does not mean that Anthony's won and Claudia has lost.
Absolutely.
However, the writing is on the wall.
Anything,
she's talking about other positions she'd be interested in or what her next step is. And
correct.
he's getting orientation.
Correct.
Talk about an anticlimactic finish, though, to, what was it, 16 months, 18 months of real solid campaigning and this back and forth, and everything comes to an end on election night.
The most money ever spent in this district.
And then it just gets dragged.
Yeah.
For
I can't say I'm
weeks.
surprised,
We
though.
don't know who
I really
won.
can't say I'm
But you're
surprised.
right. I mean, while he's out there getting his picture taken and getting acclimated, she's doing radio interviews talking about how she'd like to be a U.S. District Court attorney. Interesting. Again, every time stuff like this comes in, it makes her path even more difficult, despite the huge number of absentee ballots that's still out there. Just got to understand that he's going to win some of those, too.
Yes.
That's where it becomes difficult. Hold on tight. 840. This is a really cool honor for this area and for a judge here in this area. We'll talk about that coming up next to WIBX. In studio here this morning is Judge Bernadette Clark, and good morning. Good morning. Oh, I got to get your mic up there.
Nice to see you.
Great to see you. And you're this is a pretty big honor for. Am I told that because there's an event that is coming up, an adoption event that will be happening? Is it in Syracuse?
It is. It's at the On Center in Syracuse tomorrow. Doors open at 8:30.
And are you the first Oneida County judge that has been invited to speak?
I'm the Master of Ceremonies, and as far as I know, yes, I am the first Oneida County, and I'm thrilled about it.
That's
it's
awesome.
A wonderful event.
Explain. This is called the 5th Judicial District National Adoption Day Celebration, which covers 6 counties?
Correct, 6 counties. And it's there to raise awareness for adoption and future families, but also, most importantly, there will be 45 adoptions happening in the On Center with judges from all over the 5th Judicial District. It's an amazing, I get goosebumps even thinking about it. And it's in celebration of National Adoption Day, where there will be, I believe, 65,000 children nationwide being adopted.
Wow.
So it's really exciting.
And, when you think about adoption, we always tend to think about the parents. These are parents that can't have kids in many cases.
Many cases.
But what about the kids? These are kids that don't have, could be, sometimes they're babies, but sometimes they're kids that are a little older.
And some of them speak at the ceremony, and you want to talk about not having a dry eye in the house. They talk about being chosen to be part of a family, and here you're seeing families created right before your eyes. And as a former family court judge, there was nothing that I liked more than doing a finalizing of an adoption. It was unbelievable. Most of the time, I never got through it. In fact, I had one family that adopted 5 special needs children, and they did it 3 and then 2 a year apart. The kids brought me a box of Kleenex the second time because I couldn't get the words out. It's just so exhilarating when you see a family being created. And these foster parents are incredible. And there's about 425,000 children today in foster care in the United States.
Wow.
And 110,000 are waiting for their forever family.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask. So 110,000 children.
Waiting.
This is just in the United States.
This is in the United States. 110,000 waiting,
wow.
and many in Oneida County and in the other counties as well. It's just seeing these children and looking at their faces and the smiles, and they're all dressed up, and it's in the On Center, and the judges are set up around in the perimeter, and the clapping and the balloons and everything that goes
really
on.
Awesome.
It's just really incredible.
Yeah, I have a friend who he and his wife, and I won't say who he is, just because I probably shouldn't. But he and his wife could not get pregnant. They didn't know whether it was him or her, and so they finally decided to adopt. And they did a couple of children. They have a beautiful family. But then all of a sudden, she started getting pregnant.
That happens all the time.
In the world.
That happens all the time.
They have like 5 kids now.
Yeah, it really does.
Crazy.
It is. I think when the pressure's off, that's when
that might be
things
it.
happen.
Yeah.
You know, but it's adopting is such a great thing, and you know you've heard of unplanned pregnancies, but you never hear about unplanned adoptions.
Yeah, that's a very good
point.
point.
And these kids love being chosen.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So your role as Master of Ceremonies, what does that include? You'll actually be facilitating some adoptions, I'm sure.
Well, yes, and I will be introducing our guest speaker, who is Dean Craig Boyce from the Syracuse College of Law. He will be there speaking.
Nice.
Also, the County Executive, Ryan McMahon, will address everyone. And so I'm kind of keeping
the
everything
host.
going.
Yeah.
The hostess, if you will.
The hostess with the most.
Well, hopefully, yes. But it is an honor. There'll be probably over 20 judges there, including our district administrative judge, Judge James Tormey, who's head of all of us in the 5th Judicial. He'll be there as well. And Martha Walsh Hood, Judge Martha Walsh Hood, she really got this program going. She's been recognized nationally for what she does in Onondaga County for this event. I mean, you have to be there to see it.
Yeah.
I hope I'm giving it justice.
No, I think you are.
Because it's just there's nothing to compare with it. You walk out of there, you actually float out of the building because of the emotions that are going on.
What will, and it's really cool, the fact that you were a family court judge.
Yes.
It means the meaning is even more
Absolutely,
important.
Bill. That was, like I said, those moments of finalizing adoptions I treasure. And I have the photos of the children that I finalized their adoptions in my chambers because it's so special.
Yeah. What are you going to say tomorrow?
Well, I'm just going to say we have children ready, waiting for their forever family.
Yeah.
So we're also there to raise awareness and also to congratulate those who foster children, because these foster parents really put their hearts and souls on the line every day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to congratulate them as well and praise them for being willing to take these children into their homes. It's unbelievable.
Pretty amazing,
Yes.
Judge. That's awesome for you.
Thank you.
Of course,
I'm excited.
This is a big day tomorrow, but also just such a big day for families out there.
It really is. It really is.
All right.
Forever families. Thank
Congratulations.
you, Bill. Thanks.
All right, Judge Bernadette Clark. We'll break 8:50. We're going from you to beer.
Oh, okay.
You want to stay?
You're welcome if you'd like.
Listen.
You got court today?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
No
He's
beer
going.
for you.
That sounds good, though. The beer does sound good. Listen, thanks for promoting that.
Thank you
because
very much.
It's near and dear to my heart. You guys are awesome.
Great event. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you, Judge.
We'll break at WIBX.
Am I the only one who thinks that a small in 10 or a small in 20 sounds like a great exercise routine?
It does.
I'm going to go do. I got to get out of here. I got to
never
do a small in 10 today.
I've never heard that before.
No,
The
but
small
it's
in
fine.
10.
When you call and you ask Pizzeria for their specials, you don't say you got a small in 10 or a large,
large
in 40?
No,
20?
I say give me an EBA. That's what I always do.
Everything
But
but
I
anchovies.
mean,
yeah.
But what size?
I say give me an EBA, but add the anchovies.
Extra.
Because you can't say give me an EB.
Aren't you ever curious, like what the deal is? Like, it's funny because if you call around in this area, not to hijack his beer segment, but there are. I could probably point out like eight pizzerias within 2 miles of each other here in this Marcy Whitesboro area.
Wow.
But if you call
That's a
over
surprise.
there, to different ones, you say how much for a small pizza and 10 wings or 20 wings. Some charge like $18. Some charge like $26. There's almost sometimes like a $10 difference.
As long as we're doing this right now, is it time for me to squeeze in a little quick commercial? That Utica Pizza Company Express in Whitesboro is now open and offering for the grand opening special now through Wednesday at closing. So now through Thanksgiving, really. It is a buy one, get one, and it's unbelievable. Buy any large pizza. It could be everything on it, however you want it. Any large pizza, get a large cheese pizza absolutely free. No coupons, no exceptions, no fine print, nothing. Tell me that's not an unbelievable deal.
It's
If
unbelievable.
you could buy 10 and get 10. There are no limits on this thing at all. So if you have a big party coming up or something like that, or it's just lunch today for the office, great place to
Jeff's
go.
dinner.
Utica Pizza Company Express in Whitesboro. It's on Oriskany Boulevard in the Colonial Plaza next to NBT Bank. You can search for them on Facebook, too. It's Utica Pizza Company Express. Hello, Nagel. Good morning.
Good morning.
After all that, wow.
That was fun.
This caught me by surprise.
Yeah, so I was inspired by your Keurig cocktail segment.
Is that amazing?
That's awesome.
Yep. So
A Keurig, by the way, a Keurig that does cocktails. It's now available right now only in St. Louis.
True. Well,
Crazy.
it made me think. Excuse me, this has got me in my throat a little bit here. So
This it is a bit of a bittery.
Yeah, it's got a very sour taste.
Sour.
To it. So a lot of beer companies will emulate cocktail flavors. So I've had beers that taste like old fashions. I have had beers that taste like Manhattans. And so I went down to the Batcave looking for one of those, and I came across this, which is by Duclaw Brewing Company out of Baltimore. And it's a mojito sour. So made with lime and mint like a mojito, but kettle soured with lactic acid to give it that sort of tart, refreshing bite.
This is really good.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
That is a really
But it
unique
finishes with
beer.
that real subtle spearmint flavor, you know?
Yeah, that's one of the most unique beers I think I've ever had.
Cool.
Good, a great inspiration.
Yeah.
You are the inspiration.
No, you're my inspiration.
We're today. Now. Is this available all over the place?
It was for a limited time at better
okay.
beer stores, but
All
I
right.
don't know if you can still find it. But
All right.
you could always ask for it. It's called Sour Me Mojito.
Sour Me Mojito.
Yep.
All right, really cool. And of course, talk about the place that you work. You're in Syracuse right now.
Yeah, at Buried Acorn. We're excited. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be releasing a brand new saison called What'd You Say, Son? And
That's cool.
We just got the artwork for the labels
What is
done.
a saison?
Saison is a traditional sort of farmhouse beer from the Belgian, Flanders, French area.
Okay.
And it was like the beer I brought in last week, a provisional beer. It was given to farmers as their daily ration and sustenance, and it's light, it's refreshing, and it's not too high in alcohol. It'll have a bright. I'll bring it in as soon as it's ready, but it'll have a nice bright, fruity sort of aroma. And
another play on words, like when you go get it fitted for a suit jacket, and it doesn't fit, and they say, "Try this saison." There you go.
I like that.
We were going back and forth trying to come up with a name for this, and I settled on that one that my friend came up with, but I couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah.
But try this saison.
Now you got to do some sort of a provisional Italian and do a paisan. That would be
the
right.
paisan saison.
There
you go.